Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate that. Today, let's talk about Act of Aggression. It's next up in my Steam list of games that I'm reviewing. It's the Reboot edition. The original Act of Aggression came out in 2015. And, you know, they don't make those RTS games anymore, which is a shame in my opinion, because, well, they offer a lot of replay value, especially in skirmish and multiplayer modes, of course. But I guess at some point the RTS game went out of fashion, and I think it has something to do with the fact that most of them offered a similar kind of experience. And Act of Aggression is unfortunately no different. It's a fairly standard RTS game, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. What is immediately apparent are the large maps that you play on in this game, and because they are so large, the battlefield is best viewed from the satellite point of view, which is pretty much a very boring look of the game because it's gray and dark, but you can actually distinguish between the different units, and the buildings are sort of grayed out, so you know where your units are. Zoomed in, the graphics look crisp and clean, but units tend to blend in with the environment, which is not very helpful. Hence, that's why I played this thing mostly completely zoomed out from the satellite point of view. And I didn't think this was intended because it just looks boring. Now, the three factions on offer are not very distinguishable. You have the US Army, you know, your basic military faction, tanks and airplanes and that sort of thing. So you know the drill. Then you have the Chimera that offer expensive technology units utilizing stealth. And last but not least, you have the Cartel that focuses on movability and air superiority. But really, the differences are not that big. And there's really nothing that sets these factions apart from the classic sort of cheesy factions way back when people were playing Command & Conquer, or the somewhat newer ones where you get these large scale battles, Supreme Commander, those games, right? Now, the game offers two campaigns that pretty much serve as a tutorial. It's a very scripted affair. It requires you to fulfill certain objectives, and the game will make it hard on you as it throws a whole bunch of enemy units at you. These units are spawned in, and it's basically like this. When you play this, you go to an objective, you have to, you have to capture something, and of course there are units in the way. So you'll see like 5 or 10 units pop in, and you need to get rid of them. Now, at that point, you know, okay, there are 5 or 10 units, so I will reload and create more units, so I have the upper hand in the battle. And that's really unimmersive, really, because you know, it becomes this trial and error kind of experience, the campaign. So for a single player, I would definitely recommend playing the Skirmish Mode that was revamped not so long ago, as it is less focused on resource management, because in the campaign you need to you have to manage 3 resources, but in the Skirmish Mode there's only the oil, and you will generate money with the oil, and with the money you can buy all these units. And the actual gameplay really follows that trusted rock paper scissors principle, as every unit has a counter unit. So in the end, a balanced army with ground and air units and infantry and rocket launchers and that sort of thing will save the day, basically. The units have okay pathfinding, and on the higher difficulty levels, the AI is quite aggressive and will try to expand as quickly as possible, meanwhile continuously harassing you with all that it's got. But the conflict in this game never feels very large scale, like in the Supreme Commander games and that sort of thing. The small skirmishes, basically. That's fun for a while, but after a while, you know, you've seen it before. I haven't played the multiplayer mode because it requires registration, and I just couldn't be bothered with that. But I can imagine that playing this game in multiplayer is pretty fun. It's always fun to play with or against a friend. So I guess if you're into multiplayer, it could be worth your time. But overall, for me, it was mostly an okay experience. But I think in the long run, it's also a forgettable one. So that's what I think of Act of Aggression. Again, it's a servable RTS game, and if you're into that, then this is recommended. But it does not reinvent the genre, so it's we'll have to wait for something to come out that will sort of ignite new interest into that genre that has become more or less an acquired taste. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Leave comments, subscribe, and see you next time.